What's going on? We are live. Just waiting for Mick to join on the MOT today. Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for the thumbs up. Got I think, a good one for you guys today. I know it's been a while since I've done a live stream on here. I've been working on my own project as of late. So, yeah, thank you for all the thumbs up so far. Pretty cool. So, just giving it a minute here. Yeah, I guess I'll fill you guys in. So, I started another channel, going to be doing another podcast called Roots and Prayers. It's going to be focused around Orthodox Christianity, just Christianity in general, but primarily Orthodox. What's going on, man?
Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend so far. How are you, Luis?
Doing well, man. Doing well. A little tired, but, it's all good.
Part of life.
Mm-hmm.
Good to be tired.
I suppose, yeah. So, yeah, I was just going over the new project I'm starting, Roots and Prayers. Going to be focusing on just, Christianity. Going to be doing weekly episodes, and in a month, we'll be focusing on a particular area within the church. It'll be like a general, it'll be like a big topic with subsections within it. So Mick has got a peek at what the first month is going to be. Probably start it next month or in November sometime. But yeah, what's going on with you, man?
Just got done hanging out with the wife a little bit after we laid the kids down. We like to watch funny videos. That's what we do. Like, we watch funny videos, and then we open magic packs, actually.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of like scratching off lottery tickets, except you're not guaranteed to lose, so because you actually get something.
Right on, man.
And then I get to play Magic with my friends once every 3 months if I'm lucky.
Right on. We got some.
Always so busy,
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Oh yeah. Oh hey, we got someone.
Hey, what's going on?
Much. I guess joined, so I'm not really sure. Like, I see the topics, but I haven't really been listening to what you guys' stance there. But
we haven't even
bullshitting.
We haven't even got into it yet. We just started. We were just letting people get in.
What's your view on Maga communism? What's that? What are you referring? Like, what are you trying to portray?
I'm just covering the movement that has been created from Republicans now.
It started trending because there's this guy on YouTube, and I just, for some reason, YouTube showed me his live, it just randomly popped up, and I don't even know who the dude is, but yeah, he was going live, and he was like, out of nowhere, he was like, "Mega communism is trending, holy shit," and all this. He's like, "I knew we could do it," and then Jackson Hinkle had him on his show a week later or something like that and was talking about it. And
well,
yeah,
this is something that I feel that we have foresaw on this live stream for quite some time, this movement coming, because there really isn't a distinction between the left and the right. I think Donald Trump his movement is essentially helping the left wing more than anything. So, yeah, I mean, do we agree with the movement?
I was talking to a guy the other day, and
go ahead.
He was clearly, he didn't want to put labels on himself, but he clearly was like a left, or a right winger, and he starts talking, and he goes, he's like, I just want a stateless society without he's naming off communism to the T, and and I had to tell him you say that you are not for welfare and things like that, but like everything that you're saying is like literally communist stuff. Like,
well, I got a question. You know, he didn't want to label himself as anything. Like, he didn't want to say he's right. You know, he's like,
no, he's talking about his friend. I think he's talking about his friend.
well, I think a lot of these guys, like, you'll see a lot of right wingers. They love to change their title. They've been doing it for years. Like they were doing previously, they would call themselves Tea Partiers. That was like their movement. And then then they would call themselves conservatives or constitutional conservatives.
Why don't we just call ourselves Americans? Like, why do we have to divide ourselves in these ways?
Because that's
right. There's like
it's also
truth,
stupid.
But I think that a lot of like right wingers, they would call themselves this. It wasn't like, and you're right. I mean, I
try to avoid that personally myself, because I'm one of those people, because you said your friend was like, "Oh, I'm not a right winger. I'm not a right winger," and
it was on TikTok. It was here. It was on here.
People might, people might think that I'm a right winger or some shit because of my views or whatever. But I try to like avoid those divisive terms, dude. Like I think it does nothing good for the country. Like it's divided.
Terms get like used and manipulated and stuff, but it is important to because the terms do have meanings, and
yes.
Nobody you don't have to. Nobody fits into the two-party system perfectly, and that's understandable. But understanding the difference between right and left and authoritarian and freedom, the four, and is important. And I think some of the terms are important to understand, and some of them get used differently for common speech versus like the definitions of them, and and some of the terms are unique to America, the way that we use them in common speech. But like socialism, for instance, you could look up the exact definition, but the way that most Americans use the term socialism is completely different than what it is. And if you're talking to someone that's on the left, it's going to be a little different than someone on the right.
Yeah, words are important, and it's good to be able to identify your beliefs with a particular word. I mean, everybody has nuanced positions. It's not, that rare for people, as you described, to be on multiple sides of the political spectrum with certain issues. It's very hard to categorize yourself as fully Republican or fully Democrat, because I'm sure you'll find Democrats that are in support of many Republican ideas as well as Republicans in support of Democratic ideas.
I think the words have been weaponized is really what I'm getting at. I just think the words have been weaponized.
I agree.
Media. And I think we need to get back to our roots, not worry about that left-right bullshit for Americans.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I agree that we need to get back to our roots. But
and you agree that
the issue is
mainstream media, right?
But you can try to once you have a conversation with somebody and you guys are on the same page and understanding what you mean by the words, then
well, yeah, that's important. I mean, this is what people would do in philosophical discussions or debates. They would make sure they have a common understanding as to what words they're using and how they're being understood in the context of the conversation. So, yeah, but
can you guys both agree that these words have been weaponized by the mainstream media?
We already agreed to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like the term socialism. Like if you look up, like the technical definition is anything in between capitalism and communism.
Well, that's not the technical definition. The technical definition is the workers owning the means of production is the technical definition.
Well, I think the way that Karl Marx wrote about it was that he were. But I mean, so yes, so like the term gets used in different ways because technically that's what it is. It's anything in between. But I mean, so like you talk to some people, then yes, it's the workers owning the means of production.
Where has it ever mean anything in between? I've read Karl Marx. I've read Capital. I've read the Communist Manifesto. Where has it stated that it's anything in between?
That's what I was always taught, but I mean, it's I mean, like when people, like for instance, Bernie Sanders is a capitalist, right? But
Well,
he wants social policies of Scandinavia. I mean,
no, he's a communist. He's a self-proclaimed communist, and Karl Marx said that communism was to be introduced after capitalism has run its course. Communism is post-capitalism.
But through socialism, right? I mean, because like the two words have a meaning. Like socialism doesn't necessarily mean communism, correct?
Correct. Communism takes it a step further with governance. But you're not going to use capitalism. But you're
still have a central government. You would still have but socialism, you would still have a central government. With communism, there would be like a stateless society, right? Or am I wrong?
Well, so it's kind of silly because there can never be a stateless society. There's always going to be people who are in control of society. But the idea is to get rid of classes and to get rid of any inequalities and allow people to live harmoniously while the public owns everything. But somebody's going to have to distribute that. And so so I mean, there'll never be a stateless point, but yeah, I mean, that's the idea.
Yeah. Right wingers today, and we all agreed that the U.S. is like to an extent a socialist country because we have social policies, like in common speech. I mean, it might not be like the exact definition of what you're talking about, but the aspect that we do use social programs, and we do, we might be a right-wing country still, but we still have social programs. And I understand that there is like different ways, like I said, there's different ways to define it, but would you agree with that, or you think I'm completely wrong?
No, I mean, this is the thing that is interesting when people attempt to like demonize communism or socialism. And by the way, I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialism. I stand more so in line with capitalism as far as economy goes. There's a lot of things that I dislike with it, but I'm open-minded enough to try to understand capitalism and communism and socialism anyway. But to get to your question, yeah, there's many different ways it's interpreted. Just like there's many different ways capitalism is interpreted now. If you ask any right-winger, or you criticize capitalism with any right-winger who knows even a little bit about economy, they're going to say, well, that's crony capitalism. So we already have subsects of capitalism the same way that we do of socialism and communism. So it's, and I'm not an economist either. So, and I'm not a political scientist either.
I believe in, I kind of just thought of this randomly, but, I've been for quite some time, I've thought that, healthcare is like the biggest problem in this country, and, that I've always actually thought that, the government should just take over it, and at least when it comes to like emergency situations and stuff like that, like you shouldn't have to pay for it. Maybe if you just want to go to the doctor or whatever, then you pay for that. But if it's like a emergency or you need surgery, like save your life, that should just be we pay taxes to fund the military. Maybe that should just be like a thing that the state takes care of.
I mean, we have the luxury because we're pretty much the last to implement any like full scale healthcare system that we could cherry pick, because not all of them are the same. Like the Switzerland one is different from the Norwegian one. The Norwegian one's different from the Canadian one. Like the Canadian one's full on government. The Canadian and the British one are like a full on government program. I believe, from my understanding, I think even the staff at the hospitals work for the government, but I could be wrong about that. But like the Switzerland one and I think the German one are kind of more in line with like the like ACA. I think they have like single payer health insurance that's run by a private company, but it's obviously heavily regulated. That like that they're not getting like profits and like they're designed to work for the people. So I mean, there's different ways to do it, and
that's the only form of like communism / socialism, whatever the hell you want to call it, that I really support is with the healthcare industry, and maybe also some like critical social welfare programs if people really need the help. I don't want people. We have the ability. Like if people.
So this is where
I don't want people dying on the streets.
This is why I think we need the reunification of church and state. Right here. Charities and hospitals. Hospital, if you look up the etymology of hospital, it's like hospice, which is like charitable, charity. So hospitals, the way we understand them today, to my knowledge, historically speaking, were started by the Catholic Church. We're started by the Christian Church.
The problem with
Well, hang on. Let me finish this.
Okay, go ahead.
So the in Orthodox as well, but the Christian Church started hospitals, and then they would give to the poor as well. So everything's mixed. Talking about the church would do, and they worked hand in hand with the government. But the church did it not from being subsidized by the government, but by the people voluntarily giving alms to the church. And this is how it was back in the day. So if you didn't have family or you needed help, you go to the church.
Well, then why did Jesus flip over the table? Was he against healthcare or what?
No, he wasn't. Okay. I mean, that's just complete ignorance of the scriptures.
Let me
Okay, hang on. Really quick. What you're referring to is when Jesus flipped over the table for the money changers in the temple. They were in the temple doing business. They were in a place of God, not worshiping God, but conducting business, making money, doing worldly things inside the church, inside the house of God. And so Jesus flipped over the tables and whipped them, chased them out with a whip. That's why he did that.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, the problem that I have with churches and and charities is, these are fine by themselves, but not as like a solution, because they're inherently an emotional based system, because they rely on emotions to donate. I mean, they're not they're not. I mean, I suppose you could set up like a thing where you actually are checking people's status. I mean, like a government system, people can't receive help unless they actually need it. And it's not based off of emotions. It's based off of, actual numbers that people decide upon and the amount that they need. And so what the hospitals actually need, as opposed to, for instance, like GoFundMe. GoFundMe is whoever's the biggest pity case gets the charity. And it's not, you don't even know if these are people that really need it, and then they might get, one person might get 200,000, the other person might get $5. So, obviously the church system wouldn't be as extreme as GoFundMe, but that's my point. Is it's an emotional based system as opposed to a pragmatic system.
It's not, and pragmatism is not also the best way to go with it either. A religious system, a religious
hospitals, churches.
Yeah, and a religious system will encompass all of that is good of humanity, which is reason, which is emotion, which is spiritual. So it's more than just emotion.
Even the countries that are not secular, like the United States, they actually have, they don't use the church system to do that. They use a pragmatic universal healthcare through the government. They don't.
Yeah, but you don't want the government dictating your healthcare, because then they can just.
Well, I mean, these are Christian nations.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is that
they would rather have the government than the church running it.
You don't want, you don't want the state doing that. Look at what the state did during the cough and sniffles.
The other point I'd like to point out is, like we have, I don't even know. We probably have like 1,000 different Christianities. I mean, do you want Jehovah's Witness?
No, I'm very specific. It would be no. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's very simple. All the other Christianities are nonsense because they were created 1,500 years later. And then they created 30,000 different denominations.
So are you Catholic? So hold on.
No, hang on. Let me answer him.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Orthodox. And Orthodox is the true church. The Catholics.
Eastern Orthodox?
There are only Eastern Orthodox. It is only the Eastern Orthodox.
Just clarify.
Yeah. So
Iran has no separation of church and state, and they're on. They're dealing with a lot of turmoil right now. So
yeah, well, that's because they're being subverted. But that's a whole nother thing.
I get it. America, and the Saudis don't like them. So,
but no. So as far as the Christianity that would be the one joined with the state, it would be the one that has the historical precedent to do so, and the one that Jesus Christ founded, which is the Orthodox Church. The Orthodox Church, if you look up the I can't even speak right now. Byzantine, however you pronounce that, Constantinople, which were the first church and state between the Christian religion and the state came to be. You can see exactly like that. That's the historical precedent, and also that is the church Jesus Christ established. So it would be that one. It wouldn't be a Jehovah Witness. It wouldn't be a Protestant church of any way because their theology is inconsistent and it's relatively new.
I'm very surprised.
If America balkanizes, I could definitely see, a Christian national state, and then I could see a fucking, in Utah, there'd be like a Mormon state, maybe, there'd be all kinds of different shit. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, in the South, you'd have snake handlers and what are the people that babble? The ones that
the snake handlers.
The snake handlers, and then you got the ones that the
firewalk.
No, the babbling. I forget what you call it.
You were saying something though before that.
Speaking in tongue. Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Yeah, tongue. Yes, speaking in tongue. There you go. So that's
anybody can do it. You can't do it. Why can't you do it?
Yeah,
you got
the Mormons, you got Mormons, you got Catholics, you got Orthodox is probably the least. I've never in the U.S. There's not many Orthodox, I'd imagine. I mean, compared to any other religion, there's probably more Jehovah's Witnesses. I've met more Jehovah's Witnesses than I have Orthodox, right? Am I wrong about that?
I mean, that's your personal experience.
You just notice them because they're knocking on your door.
There's a lot of Orthodox, but well, hey man,
I had a girl that I went to school with a long time ago, but not many, but I haven't met any Orthodox. Not to say there isn't. I'm just
No, I got you, man. Well, I mean, that's your personal experience, and depends on where you live. Orthodox is not really.
Asking. I don't know. Are you aware of are they where are the Orthodox is there a predominant area?
Well, the American Orthodox is a relatively new thing. It's like 20th century new. I mean, you have to think about it. The fact that the Orthodox was kind of contained to Russia and Eastern Europe for a long time due to the persecution it faced under the USSR. I mean, it was heavily persecuted. I mean, more people died that were Christians between 1919 and 1945 than all of the first 3 centuries of Christianity combined, and there was massive persecutions in Rome.
Yeah, I mean,
so
authoritarianism, there's words because that's an economic system as opposed to authoritarianism. I mean, authoritarianism has killed more people than anything. So
I don't know about that. I mean,
a Christian national state seems like, because most religious states are fairly authoritarian.
There's nothing wrong with authoritarianism.
Leads to more of it than any economic system.
Well, there's nothing wrong with authoritarianism. There's, I mean,
but that literally, no, but I mean, you had an example of like mass murder, and literally every mass murder has been by authoritarianism, not by economic system. It doesn't matter if they're right wing or left wing. Like that literally is the qualifying thing that you need. Like, you need an authoritarian state to commit genocide.
No, you need a degenerate and degraded society in order for the genocide to even exist.
But how are you going to do that? I mean, a democratic society? I think it's like a truly democratic
Yeah, it's failed every time. A democratic society is arguably the most dangerous and most stupid society. What do you mean? There's no. What do you mean? I mean, they lead to civil wars. They lead to civil wars. They have really no historical precedent. What do you mean? You can't give me a democratic society that's lasted as long as a monarchy. You can't.
Well, but that's a different standard, though. I mean, like,
it's not. I mean, things that last long mean that they're built well.
When has a non-authoritarian state committed genocide?
Winston Churchill, Dresden. The United States is doing.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, just go look up Dresden, World War II, Great Britain. Look at what the United States, the colonizers. I'm not even a big anti-colonizer guy, but the Europeans, we wiped out a bunch of freaking Native Americans. We were just conquering shit. Cool, everything cool. What do you mean? There's genocides that happen regardless of what your political identity is.
But I mean, like that.
And then also, what about now? I mean, the United States, we're a part of just massacring people in the Middle East. For what reason? There's no weapons of mass destruction. The people that are over, the countries that we're attacking had nothing to do with 9/11.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good example. Can't argue there. I mean, in today's terms, but I mean, the natives. I mean, it wasn't really a democratic society back then. I mean, it was, it was a good example, but it wasn't because they weren't truly. I mean, because unless all people are recognized under the Constitution, then it's technically not really a democratic society.
Yeah, well, hey, man, I got somebody else that wants to jump in. We only allow one person at a time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right.
Hey, stupid philosopher, if you want to talk junk, you got enough followers, you can hop on too, dude.
He is hopping on. He's the one that wants to hop on.
Oh, shit. What's up, bro?
What's going on, man?
What's going on? What was up with that last guy?
What do you mean?
Well, which one of the guys is left? The dude that's on here still, or the one that was on a second ago?
Well, the guy that was on here a second ago would be the one who left.
Well, all right. Let me tell you this though. Maga communism. What's this guy think? The guy down in the bottom right.
That's Mick. He's the co-host, just so you know.
What do you think about Maga communism, brother?
Well, my name is Mick, and I am the host of MOT today. I'm pretty much running the MOT thing right now. What is my thoughts on it? I've heard of it. My thoughts are it's just like some new trending thing. It's not like I'm not really taking it seriously. It seems like it's just some trending thing people are saying. Because most MAGA people have a negative connotation in their head about communism. Most MAGA people don't even know what the fuck that is.
I think most people have a negative connotation about communism.
Yeah, I mean, I don't support the shit. I'm just, we're just reporting on it.
Okay, so the last guy was communist.
I don't know. He said he wasn't.
Well, he sounded like a communist.
But he said he wasn't. He said that he was more in favor of capitalism.
Dude sounded like a communist.
What does a communist sound like?
He sounded like us kind of.
Like blah, 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 like that.
So you are the
That's
stupid
what that
philosopher.
last guy sounded like. I couldn't tell if it was the dude in the bottom right or the dude that left.
Okay.
You know?
I don't know. Here, let me talk a little bit more, and then you'll find out. What are your
I like
thoughts
it.
about What are your thoughts about the America, and their dealings with Iran? I mean, have you heard of about what's going on in Iran right now?
Yeah, are there any thoughts that has to do with that, or is it just emotion, you know?
What's going on? I mean, everything. I guess everything kind of is thoughts and emotion, right?
Well, yeah, but it's more emotion than thoughts right now, don't you think?
Yeah, I think people are a lot more emotional now than they are. I think people are using their emotions a lot more than they should be, and they should be using their thoughts a little bit more and thinking more. I agree.
Yeah, there's not a lot of analytical thinking going on right now, in my opinion.
Well, it doesn't help that the average IQ has been decreasing for a long time now, and ever since the whole cough and sniffle debacle, the average IQ of a child has dropped precipitously as well. So,
The cough and sniffle debacle, what does that mean?
the C word, the CVID.
Yeah,
The semen, but what's the rest of it?
the sickness, bro. Come on now, you know what we're talking about.
Or like COVID?
Well, we're not going to say the word. I mean, we
gotta
got
try and be careful because of censorship, man.
because we got.
You only got 4,000 followers. Wait till you get to our level. You can't just talk all willy nilly and shit, bro.
I gotcha. So you guys are getting canceled, huh?
I don't know, kind of, a little bit here and there. We're still here. We're here.
So let's circle back around because you seem pretty adamant to touch on the whole MAGA communism thing. What's your take?
Well, I just thought that was a kind of a nice little comment there, like, the yin and the yang. You know what I mean?
No, not at all.
Oh, you're saying MAGA is yang and communism is yang.
By that, when you say that.
It's just a trending thing. I mean, have you heard it before? It's just a trending thing, is what.
I had
A lot of
kind of
people are talking
new to all
about
this stuff.
Okay.
So I mean,
So you kind of just got triggered when you saw the word MAGA or the acronym MAGA right next to the word communism.
well, yeah, I get probably more triggered by the word communism than MAGA.
Why are you against communism?
Well, why is anybody? Are you guys for communism?
No. Why are you against it?
So I mean,
With the last guest, hold on, let me clarify. I don't know the difference really between I guess communism and socialism. I think socialism is more just like trying to help.
No, it's very simple. It's very simple. It's very simple. I'll just define it for everybody.
Socialism is communism light.
No, so here's what it is. Socialism is literally the workers owning the means of production. Communism is where you get rid of the state, there are no more classes, and the people own everything.
But ultimately, the state owns everything.
No, ideally, in the ideal communist world, it would be the people owning everything, and there is no state.
It was like you know how
you guys
there's
are
direct democracy. This would be direct
No.
communism. And you know how there's like direct democracy? It'd be like direct communism if it actually worked. Because like in China, they don't have actual communism, right? I mean, the people don't actually own everything, do they?
Just like there is no actual capitalism.
Like pro-communism or capitalism?
I don't really. If I had to choose an economic system, I favor capitalism.
Yeah, I mean, if you just have to choose one, but it seems like all the countries have a mixture of different.
Yes, exactly.
It's not going to just be one way in any country. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys got an example of one where it's just they don't have any social programs or like I don't know.
No, probably not. But I mean, are you guys like smashing MAGA?
Are we smashing?
Are
Smashing
you
Maga.
crashing MAGA?
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't like the MAGA movement. I'm not a big fan of Trump.
Yeah, I never really liked Trump either. But,
Yeah, so it's very simple. I'll tell you why I don't like Trump. First off, he is this pretend Christian, yet he just goes around banging porn stars and, cheats on his pregnant wives. And what else? He brags about his tower being the tallest tower as people are burning in 9/11. What else? He implemented Operation Warp Speed to get a bunch of people jabbed by killed by experimental drugs. What else? He shut down the United States economy. What else? He got the country in more debt than any president prior to him. What else? He made more money in circulation than any president prior to him. What else? He pushed the LGBT movement further than any president before him. Should I continue?
So you do lean more communism than
No.
capitalism.
No, I'm a Christian, man. I'm a Christian.
Well, hold
So,
on a second. But what about Biden? Like, Biden's just as bad.
yeah, I'm not a fan of Biden. I actually
I think Biden's 1,000 times worse. Trust me.
I don't know, man. I think Biden's hilarious.
all he has is
Why?
jokes. Hold on a second. I think Trump was way funnier.
What's going on?
Well, Trump was funnier, but no, Joe Biden. The one good I mean, think about it. What's happened under Biden's administration? First off, Roe v. Wade was overturned under Biden's administration. Huge W for Biden. What else? He wants to cancel
He's
student
not even
debt.
taking credit for it.
I know he should be taking credit for
He's
it.
so humble.
I know.
Humble, man.
How is that a huge win for Biden?
It happened under his administration.
Yeah,
That's bad. That's bad for him, right?
No, it's good.
right?
Flip the script, man.
I don't get it.
Flip the
He's
script.
about to run Republican. Imagine if
Biden is
was
gonna
running
run Republican?
No, he's being silly.
Running
He's being
Republican,
silly.
He could say, I overturned Roe v. Wade.
He's being silly. But no, seriously though, it's just rhetoric, man. It's like, Joe Biden, his administration, under his administration.
You guys don't get it, do you?
I don't think you get it.
We don't really support either party, bro. They're both trash. I mean, they really are. They don't really want to fix the problems.
I thought you guys said you were Christian.
I am Christian.
So how do you even remotely support Biden?
I don't.
I just said we don't
But I mean,
support
how do
either
you
of them.
not? God, how do you not object everything that he's for?
Because Roe v. Wade was overturned under Biden's administration, and that's a blessing.
Oh,
He's
you guys are
highlighting the one good thing.
delusional.
He's highlighting. Well, hey,
And also, the other good thing, the other good Christian thing Joe Biden's administration is, hopefully they'll do, is debt cancellation. That's a very Christian thing. It's in the Bible, actually. Every 7 years, you forgive debts. So
and he stopped the Iraq
now
war.
I
bro.
have to pay for it, huh?
you don't pay for it. You don't understand how the economy works. You don't pay for it. We've had many conversations with many people for, like 2 weeks when this whole thing was going on. You don't understand how the economy works if you think you pay for it at all. You don't know how money is made.
But I do.
How is money made?
How what?
How is money made?
I make it. I pay it to the government.
How do you make it?
Biden give us-
That doesn't make any sense. How is the money made?
I make the money.
How do
I
you
give
make
it
the
to
money?
government.
How do you make the money?
I make it.
How?
You don't
I don't
make
have
the
to
money,
tell you
bro.
how
You
I
work
make
for
it.
it.
I just make it.
You,
I make it.
No, you work for the money.
dude, you don't understand at all what you're saying. You work for the money.
Oh man. What are you talking about?
So you work for the money, but who makes the money? Who literally
I mean,
creates the money?
I don't go to like the mint and mint it.
Yeah,
but,
nobody
you know,
mints
they
the
give
money
it to
either,
the
bro.
press and they give it to me.
Nobody mints the money either, bro.
I don't know what you're saying.
I know. It's all good. So money is made by this. I'll explain it to you. It's very simple.
Okay.
Every time a loan is created, every time a credit of some kind is initiated, numbers on a screen are generated. Therefore,
Okay.
debt makes money. We live in a debt-based economy. Money is not printed. Money is literally, for the most part, numbers on a screen that are all imaginary. It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by anything other than the fact that you believe that your hard work in the United States government is trustworthy, that your hard work is good and the government is trustworthy.
Well, then why do I have so much?
What do you mean?
Why do I have so much imaginary money?
I don't know, because you're good at what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, what do you do, bro? Other than talk to people on TikTok. Are you making all this money off TikTok, bro?
Does anybody make money off of TikTok?
We do.
Well, I don't.
You think you have to have
I make
10,000
money in the real world. The real world.
So do we. You know, I have my own business. I have a job. Mick has a job.
We
You know.
don't really make shit off TikTok for real, but so if you guys want to, throw us some
I
fucking
thought
roses or
you
some
did
shit.
make money off of TikTok.
We do. We do.
I said we don't really make shit. We make a little bit. So throw some roses.
Well, that doesn't sound like much.
It isn't.
not.
All right, man. Peace out. Thanks for coming out. We got somebody else that wants to hop on here.
That dude was a hater.
I think he might have been a troll, but what's going on?
What up, man?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Are you of the opinion that Maga communism is a good line to have?
What do you mean?
Do you support Maga communism?
No.
No, we're just
Oh,
trying to
thank
get
God.
people.
Okay.
We're just bringing it up to people so people know what the fuck it is, talk about it, shit like that. And people are getting fucking triggered. They're like, oh my god. They just see the word MAGA next to communism and they get fucking triggered, bro.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad to hear that because I was flipping through, that caught my eye because I don't know if either of you are on Twitter, but that's been the hot topic for the past week now.
I saw breaking news, dude. Fucking dude on YouTube made it up, man. I have to figure out what his name is, but
Yeah, there's infrared with Haas, and there's
I think that's
Jackson
what it was.
Hinkle's the other guy.
Well, yeah, the infrared
Yeah.
dude made it up, and then Jackson Hinkle was just talking about it recently. He had him on there. But Jackson,
Yeah, on Tucker Carlson.
dude, I
On Tucker
like
Carlson, where he basically
I kind of like Jackson Hinkle. He speaks a lot of truth, and I'm not a fucking communist or socialist. I get, I like to refer to myself as an American, but our economy is a multiple different things. It's capitalism, a little bit of socialism, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I do think that our healthcare system needs to be nationalized in a sense. And other than that, I do believe in some social programs, just a little bit here and there, but it definitely needs to be reined in on because it's been abused. But other than that, yeah. I do think we deserve things in this country for all the bullshit we put up with and all the taxes we pay and shit. That's my thoughts.
I think we get what we deserve. So the government we have, the country we have, the economy we have is what we deserve. You reap what you sow. And we're reaping what we sow as a nation.
We can try and change it and make it better. Or we can hope that it'll get better at least, right?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
What about you, Marxist?
Yeah. I was going to say I'm a Marxist. I would call myself a communist. And I don't really think the U.S. is a mixture of capitalism and socialism. I think we have government programs, but that doesn't work outside of the capitalist framework. It's still heavily privatized. And what we do have that is nationalized and operated by our government is just something that is supporting a capitalist system. And it goes in no way toward what socialism actually is.
Hold on. I want to answer this comment real quick because it just made a light bulb go off in my head. Maestra Zero says, y'all need a government for the people, by the people. And that's a very American thing, that term that they just said. And then, earlier you were telling me the difference between socialism and communism. And communism seems like it would be a government for the people, by the people.
No, so all right, really quick before you go off on that. But no. So first off, all governments, Mick, I've talked about this so much. All governments, on the very fundamental principle of a government, they need the consensus of the governed in order to have any power. Therefore, all governments are established by the will and the morality of the people.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like communism would be like the most for the people, by the people. Like it would
No,
be the
it's not, because it's anarchy, dude. Anarchy never works. Anarchy is literally retarded.
So would there be voting and stuff like that? I mean, would there be laws in communism? There would probably still be laws.
Who would
right?
enforce the laws in an ideal communist situation? Who would the state be if the state is eliminated and it's just the people?
Well,
You still have political organization. It's just
yeah. Can't they still make? Can't they still?
Who's going to have the ultimate say, though?
It's democratically decided by the people.
Who's going to ultimately say? How big can it be? So can you have a government that's completely communist?
I want to say one thing real quick. I feel like communism is the only thing that would be able to defeat fascism, because it seems like communism would eliminate the corporations almost.
Correct.
Yeah. So, dude, I mean, you're just going back to the 20th century. That's literally what happened. Communism rose as the antithesis to fascism.
I mean, and right now the U.S. seems to be more fascist than anything.
It is, but communism and fascism are not the choices that we should go with. I mean, we already saw that they both fail. The 20th century proves that they both fail. Now, I will say this: there are exceptions to the rule. China, crushing it. Communist state, crushing it. They're doing well, right? So they are. China is communist, dude.
Really? They're tearing down.
Are not.
Oh my
They're
god.
tearing down fully built skyscrapers because, like, or half-built skyscrapers and shit like
So
that.
there's a whole theory behind those ghost cities, and if I understand the theory correctly, the Washington D.C. elites, the people with small hats, really wanted China to be the next destination that they subvert, and so those ghost cities were established for them. That plan is not working out. So now the ghost cities,
like, we don't want you small hat people here to have your own city.
pretty much, and now you have Xi Jinping doing anti-corruption campaigns, and this is why you have people inside the Chinese government who are trying to take out Xi Jinping because.
Yeah, I think China is doing okay, obviously, long term, but they do have a lot of problems, and I don't want to, like, glorify.
I'm not. I'm just saying that they are the exception to the rule when it comes to communism. And before you go into saying they're technically not communism because their market is sort of free, it's like I've already stated this at the beginning. Every economic system runs on a spectrum pretty much. Just like we have in the United States, there's social welfare systems. There's socialist systems within the U.S. There's also fascist systems within the U.S. And so in communism, there can be elements of capitalism as well. It's not this pure thing. And so China is predominantly communist. It is.
I disagree. As a communist myself, I disagree. I consider myself a Maoist, and so that's what the anti-revisionist line is post-1976 with communism in China. So I would say China's communist in name only, because post-1976 they went through a series of liberalization reforms. And sure, you can have capitalist elements in socialist transition. That's not what we're seeing. We're seeing a broad liberalization trend in which there is complete capitalist relations of production in their productive forces in the population. You have essentially a state comprised of parastatals rather than cooperatives. It's completely capitalist, and you could even make an argument that it's a mercantilist system, but it is in no way socialist today.
Why is it then CEOs of corporations in China, if they do not fall in line with the party, they can lose their jobs, they can become in prison, they can lose their life?
Sure. I mean, that's the case in several capitalist countries, though. It's still subordinate to the state to an extent, but that doesn't make it a socialist country.
In a way, it makes it, a socialist country. It provides an element of that communism, socialism framework.
Well, no, because by definition, it incorporates private ownership of production.
But there are no private ownerships. Like, it is owned by the state.
whatsoever.
These things are owned by the state.
No, they are not owned by the state. 100%
Yeah.
of China's economy is
There's
not owned by the
subsidy,
state.
not 100%. No, not 100%.
Not even a vast majority of it is. It's the only things that you can argue are owned by the states, the parastatals, which are basically fused free market private ownership and government control. And that's not socialism. It's just, it doesn't have the relations of production necessary to call it socialism.
Shit, hey man, shit just got real, bro. He just took his fucking shirt off, bro. He
Nah, I'm getting hot.
He's getting heated, bro. Hey, I might have to go black for just a second. My phone's charging, so I'm gonna have to migrate. Or my phone needs a charge.
All right, that's cool. That's cool.
Plug it in.
So yeah, I mean, but my point still stands. They're predominantly communist. They're not predominantly capitalist. In their governance, they attempt to be communist. In their philosophy, it's mostly communist.
Private ownership and private capital has influence in the Chinese government.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying it's purely communist.
It's really not.
I'm not saying it's purely communist. That's never been my argument. Which is what it seems that your argument.
Tap the screen, guys. Show some love.
But yeah, I mean, communism and fascism, they both don't work, which is why you have to alter them in order to have a society that's been lasting as long as China. And then you have to evolve. I mean, like there has to be an evolution. There has to be an understanding of history, and there has to be wisdom involved to realize that, hey, doing it this way is not going to work. If you were to have the ideal communist state, you would have no state. And if you have no state, then essentially people will form tribes that will then eventually take over other tribes that will then just lead into one big tribe. And you would then lose your communist state because it's anarchy, and anarchy does not work. It's never worked, and it never will work. Humans are antithetical.
I have several issues with what you just said. And the first being that communism didn't work in the 20th century, which I think is just wrong. First, because, I mean, you seem to have an understanding that communism is a stateless, moneyless, classless society, which has not been achieved. And secondly, what we have seen is socialist transition in the direction of communism that has either been revised into what we have in China today or has been essentially couped and worked against the interests of the own people at the behest of capitalists, like we had in the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991. Now, in the case of China, where you say that it had to adapt and that's a failure, I completely disagree, because that's not what happened in 1976. What happened is, following the Cultural Revolution, the capitalist influence in China was not eliminated, and following the death of Mao, the Gang of Four was imprisoned, some of which being executed. And following that, there was a liberalization of the economy in the interest of those people. It had nothing to do with failures of communism. Would you agree with that?
I don't know enough about that particular subject to really have an opinion.
That's
but if what you're saying is true, I mean, I would have to agree. But I don't know. I don't know the other sides of the story.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I guess, in what sense do you believe that communism did fail then?
Where is it?
Well, okay. So, I mean, when you say communism failed, do you mean to think that
where is
there
it?
were actual communist
Where is it?
governments, or
where is it?
Communist countries? What do you mean? Where is it? That's not what I'm asking here.
No, I'm asking you. So, like,
communist countries in the world at any point.
well, from The technical definition, no, because you can't be a country and be communist.
Well, no, you can be a country. You
You
just can't be a
can't.
state.
No, you
Yeah.
literally can't. You can't. That's a contradiction.
Yes, you absolutely.
What's a country?
No.
Explain to me what
You're
explain to me what a country is. What's a country?
A country is a political system that encompasses state, regime, government. That's all part of what we consider generally a country, but it's not entirely dependent on there being a state. It's
And what's communism?
I mean, it's almost interchangeable with nation.
And what's communism?
Communism is stateless, moneyless, classless.
And once again, what's country?
It is what encompasses the political system of a nation. The
And
regime and the government that constitutes a nation.
but how is there a regime and government if it's communist?
You can still have those things.
How if it's stateless? What does what does stateless mean?
Stateless means that there's no organization that declares sovereignty through policy and action, that has a monopoly of force, that's Weber's definition, over a territory. That's what a state is.
So how can you have a country if you don't have a state?
You can have a country because you still have a political regime. There's still fundamental rules, norms of politics.
Do you not see the
within a
contradiction
nation.
in your words here, man?
I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying here.
I am
A
100%.
regime is not. No, I'll give you a definition for regime right now. That's what I'm talking about. It is the fundamental rules and norms of politics that embodies long-term goals that guide individuals within a nation.
How is that
What a
implemented?
regime is. That
How
still exists without a state.
How? Give me an example.
Through democratic consensus, you can still have organized people without having a monopoly.
Who's going to
of
organize it?
Territory, which is what a state is.
Who's going to organize it? And who's also, if you don't have a monopoly over violence, who's going to provide security?
Security can be provided through the general population without a consolidated form.
How?
That's
There has to be
basic property of communism.
there has to be small consolidations of violence in order to have any security.
Yeah, it's just decentralized.
Yeah, but then with the decentralization, you're still going to have organization within it.
Yes. It's state and organization are not synonymous. A state is a very
I'm not saying that
particular
the
thing.
state and the organization are synonymous. But what I'm saying is
a
that
form of organization, but
you-
not all
you can-
organization is a state.
yeah, I know. I'm not saying they're synonymous. That's not at all what I'm saying.
Okay, then it's not contradictory.
It is, though, because you're saying that you can have a country without anybody having the monopoly of violence, which means that how are you supposed to protect the people by and large who identify with that? And then where does this decentralization come from? Where does the cohesion come from? What is that? What is that which binds the country?
That which binds the country is what I'm talking about when I say regime. It is the set of ideological principles.
Who
It
sets
is how
those?
you
Who
have
sets them?
the people themselves through.
So do you? Let me ask you this.
education, criticism, and self-criticism
Let me ask you
of each
this.
other educationally
Do-
through
do-
the society.
Who determines the education?
The people themselves. That is the entire point of communism, is that it's decentralized and it comes through a consensus of these people. And that does not require a consolidated form of government such as a state.
It won't work though, because do you know Pareto distribution?
I'm sorry, what was the term you used?
Pareto's distribution or Pareto's law.
Remind me. No, I'm unfamiliar.
The 80-20 rule. 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. 80% of the wealth is owned by the top 20% of the people. 80% of, pretty much
that
everything.
has historical precedent, but that's not everlasting. That's not.
Well, if we take that and apply it, being that we have evidence that it does happen in societies continuously, across the board. If you have this stateless society, it would seem that over time there would be a natural consolidation of force. There would be a natural consolidation of power. And then also,
I see what you're getting.
you would then have this natural event where not everybody is deciding education because not everybody is informed enough to decide on education. Not everybody is informed enough to provide an answer on security or the economic state of the country. Not everybody should be able to deal in geopolitical matters. What happens when this communist state that's stateless, how are you supposed to interact? Who's going to represent your country? The people?
That's a good point. Okay, yeah. Let me clarify that for you then. Specifically with what you said about who represents this communist country, it's communism for it to be established, and this is talked about as far back as Marx. For communism to be established, it has to be international. It has to be global. You have to first meet post-scarcity within a country, and then you have to have all other countries.
So you get rid of countries. That's my point, dude. You get rid of countries. That's the logical conclusion of communism, which is what I was trying to show you. You can't have a country. You can't have a country in communism. You have to do away with countries to have communism.
What you have first is a socialist state that eradicates the class characteristic of society. That is what maintains.
How do you get rid of classes? How do you get rid of classes?
How do you get you were asking questions that it's a little more difficult for me to just explain that off the top of my head, because for that I would recommend that you read Lenin, you read Mao, you read Marx.
I have read Mao. I've actually read a lot of Mao. I know quite a bit about Mao. I know quite a bit about Marx. I've read a couple of his works. I haven't read any of Lenin. But so what's a class? What is a class, and how do you eliminate them?
Well, class society. Well, Marx's most famous quote, arguably, is "Hitherto society is the history of class struggle." Right. So class struggle is by which the contradictions inherent to it eliminate classes through the consolidation of the proletariat over the bourgeoisie.
What is the class?
Right.
What is the class? What are the classes? How are they defined?
Well, there's two fundamental classes in capitalism, which are the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. The bourgeoisie is characterized by capitalist private ownership of production, whereas the proletariat is characterized by anyone who sells their labor in the production of commodities.
Okay. And really quick, I actually just thought about this. So if communism is supposed to be international, are you going to be imposing communism on countries that don't want it?
No, because it requires the prerequisite of already having undergone socialist transition. You can't.
And what if they haven't? So how can you have communism if you will never have every country all in, understanding with each other as to what their economic and governmental policy should be?
Well, that is what's decided on through the process of socialist transition, which is a very, very long process. So I'm not saying it's something that happens just like overnight, or it could happen in even the next 100 years. It first requires a very long process of socialist transition to get to that point.
Do we have any historical precedent of economic and political systems taking hold throughout every country?
We're beginning to see it, but no, I would say.
And it's falling apart. And it's falling apart.
Isolated instances.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're looking at free trade, free market, and it's falling apart. It's not lasting.
Free trade and liberalization is falling apart. I agree with you there. I mean,
that's a form of globalization.
About this stuff 150 years ago.
Yeah, and that's a form of globalization that would be needed in order for communism.
Globalization. What we have today is a globalization of imperialism. So it's still within a capitalist framework. It's not proletarian internationalism, which is what socialists talk about.
Well, I don't really know that it's within a capitalist framework. There's a lot of subsidies going on for these corporations. And they're receiving...
Subsidies are capitalist.
Well, they're more so fascist, by definition.
Yeah, okay, I would agree with you, but I mean, fascist fascism is a development out of capitalism itself. So
well, and so is communism. So is
character
communism by
fascism.
Marx. I mean, the only way you get to communism is through capitalism. So they both are.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, it's a little more nuanced because it depends on the conditions that lead it to either fascism or communism. But it's, I agree. I get what you're saying, though. I agree with you there.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like a very, I mean, it's one of those things where theoretically people get are appealed to it, but on a practical sense, it's just not going to happen ever.
Well, I mean, you said you've read some Mao and some Marx. Have you read much on dialectical and historical materialism?
No, but I do know a little bit about Hegel and the dialectical.
Sure. Dialectical idealism.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the best thing I could recommend for you, and this isn't me saying like, oh, I know more than you. I think if you want to understand what my position is, I can't really explain it super concisely in just this short little conversation. I would recommend reading a little bit more about historical materialism and how contradictions lead to predictable historical change, because that's what the argument of communists is based on, where we say things like socialism or barbarism are inevitabilities. And that's how we can be so certain about this. Because in short term...
Why are they inevitabilities?
They're inevitabilities because through the contradictions in capitalism, in the dichotomy of private ownership versus socialized production, you eventually lead to a heightened class struggle and heightened contradictions that resolve in the form of socialism. And I know that might not make a ton of sense saying it.
I mean, you should be, if this is what you believe, man, if this is what you believe and you're going to come on people's lives, you should be able to articulate it in a way that others will be able to understand it without referring to other works. I get it. You can refer to other works in order to buttress your argument. I'm all for it. But what does this even mean? I mean, you're just throwing out terms like somebody who just read a book and doesn't actually understand what they read, but it sounds good. And I'm not trying to be offensive.
Yeah. No, I got you. That's like that's the classic difficult part about getting people to take to socialism or communism. And it's why you see a lot of memes about communists like referring people read like 500-page books to answer a simple question.
Which is why you guys will never win, because you need to have better rhetoric. You need to have better dialectic.
Oh yeah, I mean that's absolutely something that communists need to improve on across the board. But when you ask like very specific questions about something like that, it's hard to answer it in just like a short response. I can give you a short response here. I actually took notes on when I was reading about historical materialism. Give me one second.
What's up, y'all? I'm sure the audio quality is trash.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm just letting my phone charge a little bit here, and then I'm going to move closer to the router. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
good?
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Sweet. You guys have been having an interesting conversation. I've been listening to it the entire time. And all I've really heard is a bunch of different definitions like communism, all this thing. And we're America. Come on, we need to unite, people. Why are we so... That's all I'm hearing in my head. It's like...
No, I am not a conservative. Somebody asked me on YouTube.
I feel like we really need to unite.
With what? What's going to unite us, Mick? How do you unite?
What's going to unite us? Well, we're uniting right now, in a sense. I mean, we're
not really
talking about.
We're conversing
rationally, like we should be.
I said, well, we're not uniting, but we are conversing.
That's trash.
All right. So this guy is taking. Feel free to hop back in. I hear that he was just about to come back in. So We got somebody else that wants to hop on. You were just taking quite a while, so I figured this person was waiting very patiently, so I'd allow them to hop on in the meantime. Let's see here. I mean, I don't know where they went. Where'd you go?
Yeah, I just feel like we need to unite. What's going to unite us? I don't know. I feel like right now we are uniting because we're like all coming together and talking about stuff.
But we all disagree.
We don't all. Well, we don't disagree on everything. Like I feel like we have more in common than we have. We don't all have to fucking agree on everything, right? Like. What the fuck, are we robots?
Yeah, but what's going to unite us? But before we go on to that, I want to hear what Marxist guy is going to say about, and I don't mean that disparagingly. I don't know your name or anything.
That's what I am. All right. Sorry it took me so long. I got distracted by something else real quick. But just to give you like a quick overview of why historical materialism shows why Marxists say that socialism is an inevitability out of capitalism, is that when you look back through history and you look at the characteristics of production at each stage, you have initially primitive communism, where people began to develop surpluses in their own production, and that led to an exchange between people to get rid of their excess and in turn have their own benefit, whereas before they weren't able to because all that excess was practically just going to waste, right? So that's how you pretty much got trade in the barter system out of the first division of labor. And when you had the first division of society into classes, there was basically, cattle raising, agriculture, domestic handicrafts, and this small scale production that led to a division into masters and slaves. And that can be simplified to exploiters and the exploited. Okay, so that eventually led to out of slave society into a feudal society, which you still had exploiters and exploited, even though this was unable to be recognized at earlier stages due to, lacks of knowledge about what was going to happen and what did happen that we have now. Out of feudalism, you had bourgeois revolutions, which led to capitalism, right, where you had private ownership but social production. And that is a huge contradiction because all this social production is enriching private individuals. And so through having the education to recognize contradictions using dialectical materialism, you can find that contradiction can only be resolved in one way, and that is the socialization of both the ownership and the production in society. That is how you resolve that contradiction, and otherwise it cannot be done. That is basically the very, 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 very shorthand version of what historical materialism claims.
So,
I don't know, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but I mean, this just goes with the assumption that the thing that's driving humanity is money and economics, which I don't believe at all.
Yeah. Why don't you believe that?
Because I'm a Christian, and I believe that humanity's purpose is to seek after God, not seek after material items. So my fundamental framework.
Evaluate human behavior, though, right? Because I also have a background in psychology, and I can tell you, behaviorism, as a field of study, shows that we learn and develop as creatures through reward and punishment. It's much more fundamental than saying we're driven by vague ideas. Yeah,
but people are with that. So yes, there is a reward-based system in our minds, but that is not the same across the board, and not even a little bit. People have different goals and ambitions in life. As opposed, not everybody's like, I want to make $1 million. Not everybody's like, I want to have a house. Not everybody's like, I want to have this really nice car. Not everybody's like, I want to be an owner in a company.
Yeah, but what is that determined by?
That's determined by their personal interest.
And where did that personal interest come from?
Well, I would say that it comes from a few things: their spirit, their environment, and their education, and their genes.
Okay, so
their genetics.
Sure. I would agree with close because I think you can group in education with environment. I don't believe in spirit as a concept. I think it's non-falsifiable. And I don't mean this as an insult. You can believe spirit. I know you're a Christian, but I think it's dogmatic when I think about it. And so when I want to evaluate how a person becomes the person that they are, I evaluate the specific reinforcement of behaviors that leads them to who they are. Everything is deterministic. If I set one person with the same genes, let's say identical twins, in the exact same environment, they will be exactly the same.
Wrong. I have identical twins. I literally have identical twins, and that's so wrong.
Yes, but they do not have the exact same environment. There are minute differences
They
in
have.
their environment.
They have the
vastly
exact.
different.
I'm telling you, they have the exact same environment.
Are
Do-
they in
do
the
they-
exact
now-
same place right now?
Yes, literally.
How?
What do you mean? They're laying down in the same bed.
But they are, even then, I mean, this is a bit specific, but they are inches apart from each other still. And in their actual life, in which they are being rewarded and punished and having specific behaviors reinforced, that happens individually. It doesn't happen to them both at the exact same time.
So their perception of reality is different, but they are physically on this material-based perspective. They are materially in the same. They have the same environment, exactly the same environment.
No, they don't though.
They do.
Exactly the same is a very particular thing to say.
No, what you're saying is now you changed the argument. You first said that the exact same environment. I'm telling you that they share the exact same conditions, but then you switched it to, well, they're not the exact same location, meaning like they're
let me
not.
ask you this then.
Which changes the fundamental argument.
No, let me rephrase. In day-to-day life with them, I don't know how old they are, but let's say as you're raising them, do you say the exact same words to them both at the exact same time in the exact same context, but with the exact same antecedents to that context?
Well, yeah, sometimes.
No, it's an impossibility.
It's not an impossibility. What are you talking about? Do you not have kids? Do you not speak to your kids?
I don't have kids, but I work with kids.
Yeah, and you speak with and sometimes you'll speak with the kids at the same time, saying the same thing to the kids as a direction, as a order, as a lesson.
They have different antecedents. There's different contexts leading to that conversation. You can't have the exact same life.
Which I will give you that there are different perspectives, there are different interpretations, which is totally different than being in the same exact environment. You are changing the argument. I'm with you that they have different perspectives. I'm with you that they have different interpretations. I'm with you that they are experiencing things differently. But as far as the environment goes, where they are living, it is exactly the same.
I think you're viewing things not specific enough, though. When you talk about the environment, you're talking about, the household is the environment for you. Environment is any stimulus that is interpreted by either that, and that could be conscious or subconscious. Okay, that is what shapes specific behaviors. Environment is an incredibly specific thing. It is a 100% impossibility to have the exact same environment between two individuals. It's completely impossible.
In a mental and conscious, yes, I agree.
So that is what leads to individual differences.
You could argue that, yeah.
Okay, so where exactly does spirit come into play there, and how do you prove that spirit has any
philosophical discussion?
Yeah,
It's got very,
Where does
very,
spirit come
very
into play there?
philosophical.
Yeah, well, spirit is who you are. Spirit is the I am. Spirit is the thing that observes.
but if I can prove to you scientifically that specific behaviors, constituting who you are.
Do you believe in metaphysics? Do you believe in the philosophical
No.
school of metaphysics?
I'm not a metaphysician. I'm a dialectician. It's contradictory.
Okay. Well, then then we're just going to disagree.
Well, no, because I think you can prove the absurdity of metaphysics by showing
You
how
can't.
dialectics works.
Where's a memory? Where's a memory? Where's love?
A memory, I can answer that for you. A memory is found in the interaction of limbic systems in the brain in specific neural pathway activations and specific sequences.
Recover a act. So the same way that a memory is stored in our mind's eye, where we can literally replay it, do that. Do a scientific experiment demonstrating that, where you can pull it up on a screen, taking the synapses, the nodes, the neurons, whatever, in the fucking brain.
Mm-hmm.
Do a science experiment, doing an actual illustration of the memory.
That has been done.
Where has an actual recording of that been done?
You can research that. I don't have the source on me, but that has been done.
So you mean, so hang on, let me make sure. Let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. So what I am saying is that you have literally taken the mind's eye image of the memory and you put it on a screen to play back, and then you actually watch that.
No, not that, because that's not what a mind's eye image is. There's no such thing. There's no projector screen inside of your brain where you go, oh, there it is. I'm thinking of this.
What do you mean? What do you mean, dude? What do you mean? I experienced that.
Through things like fMRI.
That's literally how I perceive things in my mind. For me personally, I'm a visual thinker.
But that doesn't prove the existence of spirit.
It doesn't disprove it either. What do you mean? I mean, we disagree on metaphysics, and I'm telling you that you can't actually extract that from my mind, but it's in there.
Let me show you this then. Okay, there's this thing called motion blindness, and what motion blindness is an inhibition or a lack of connection in specific areas of the brain where you are unable to perceive motion. This is scientifically proven to be in a very specific part of the brain, and it has been scientifically demonstrated to be replicable. Where does the spirit come into that then? Where in your spirit are you unable to perceive motion non-scientifically and entirely metaphysically?
I guess I don't understand what you're asking.
How can you say that the spirit is what constructs your image of the world when we have scientific evidence of examples like motion blindness where you can't perceive motion and you would say that that's a defect in the spirit, which how does that happen, I might ask?
I've never even said that. I'm trying to understand your question and how it's related to the spirit. So just because you can't perceive motion negates the fact that there's a spirit? I don't understand.
That we have proof that one particular part of what you see as your world environment is directly inhibited by material things in your brain. If you have motion blindness, that impairs your worldview. And if you're saying that the worldview is immaterial and is based on spirit, then that's a contradiction.
No, I'm not saying that. You don't even understand my position. You're assuming my position. I'm not a dualist. I'm not a spiritual. No, it's not at all. You don't even understand what I'm thinking. You don't even understand my perspective. I believe that the material is very real, but there's a spiritual element to it as well. It's non-dualism. I would believe in non-dualist. Do you know any? I mean, you said you're a Maoist, so I'm assuming you have some idea of Eastern philosophy, which non-dualism exists in Eastern philosophy. It also is the fundamental core of Christianity.
Yeah, I understand what you mean by non-dualism. But I'm, again, asking you how we can prove that there are material impacts in what you say is constructed by the spirit, even though the spirit is separated from the material in the sense that you're talking about.
What is constructed by the spirit is your self of I am, your identity, and then your memories that are involved in that, your emotions that come from that. The things that you can't actually scientifically experiment on, the capacity of love, the capacity of fear, the joy. You can pick up on where they originate and how they're released throughout the body, but you can't actually, the same way that you can't actually depict what's in the mind's eye. Whether you want to call it a mind's eye or not, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. You can't
the conscious
depict that.
experience. Yes, I understand what you mean by the mind's eye, but neuroscience and psychological sciences in general have such a concrete understanding of the things that you're claiming they don't have an understanding of.
I'm not
Things
claiming
like
they don't
love,
have an
things like
understanding of it.
aesthetics,
I've
all of
never
these
once
things
said
are
that. You're
explained through psychological research.
You're assuming my position. And this is the irritating thing about speaking with somebody who's non-spiritual. It's typically in the West. They're very anti-Christian. And so they just go on to assume your position on all of these things. I am not saying that they don't have answers for it. I literally said that you can figure out on a material level how these chemicals, how the impulses are released and where the memory may come from. I give you that 100%. I am not anti-science in the least. As a matter of fact, Christians are the ones who really created science as we know it today. It was really funded by the Catholic Church.
Is that how they acted with Darwin?
Well, Darwin was anti-Christian, and Darwin now in the whole scientific community, there's a fucking ton of biologists and other scientists coming out and being like, yo, this whole Darwin thing is a little sus. But anyway, I digress.
You have no. Read the works of Darwin.
I have. I literally had to in college. I literally had to read The Origins of Species in college. And the only thing that I really got from it is that adaptation is real.
Wow. Did you read the whole book?
I read most of it. Yeah, I did not read the whole book.
Okay, all right.
But once again, dude, dude, you're having such a hard time even arguing your own positions. You have to keep going back to read this book, read that book, do this, read this. Dude, be able to just have a conversation. We're having a conversation. I have read plenty of Darwin. I know enough about it to realize that there is literally no answer to the beginning of species. It is all inference. It is all inference and faith-based. It is all faith-based on how humanity came to be through the Darwin perspective. It's all faith-based.
Let's take a step back and I'll clarify my position for you then. When you just admitted, and this is the position of science, that all these things such as...
It is not the position of science to believe in evolution the way that Darwin does. This is a very ideological, which is very Marxist, by the way, perspective to take. This is not... First off, do you understand that there's a huge, across all scientific fields, chemistry, biology, physics, biomedicine, psychology, sociology, soft sciences, hard sciences, across the board, there's this thing called the reproducibility crises, where we can't even really trust what's published in an academic journal these days because there are so many uses of zombie data. There's so many uses of fraudulent information. It's insane. And also, additionally, there is a huge lack of showing that there are any studies to support the study that they're doing. They can't reproduce it. Hence the reproducibility crises. And now, I literally did a whole stream on this a while ago where people from Yale, biologists from Yale, I believe John Hopkins, well-known biologists were like, we're going to have to adjust our perspective from Darwinism because we just don't have a lot of major answers. It's just, there's too many holes in the theory. And so it's not coming from Christians. It's not coming from your Protestants. It's not coming from your fundamentalists. It's coming from your Ivy Tower academics that are saying there are too many flaws in the theory.
Everything I am talking about theoretically is peer-reviewed research that is not facing replicability crisis.
So you think?
I'm well familiar with confounds in research and how that leads to issues with replicability. I've conducted research myself, okay? This is not contradictory to what I'm saying. I'm going to finish making my point and explaining and clarifying my position. When I tell you that there is peer-reviewed, empirically supported, and non-crisis-ridden data that shows we have a scientific material understanding of things like love and aesthetics, why should I chalk everything up or not everything, because that's not your position. You're dualistic. Why should I chalk up the things that I don't understand to something completely unfalsifiable, dogmatic, and immaterial like spirit, which has no actual basis in any form of understanding that we have? It is unscientific.
That's your opinion.
It makes no sense at a material standpoint.
Well, it's not supposed to make sense on the material standpoint.
Exactly, because it comes from a position of ignorance of science, and all
no,
the
it doesn't. That's your position.
Against the concept of spirit.
It doesn't.
Against what religion has held
it
for
doesn't.
thousands of years.
It doesn't. Literally,
it
Christian.
Absolutely does.
Literally, the Catholic Church is like the main funder of science and like the fucking early ages, dude. What are you talking about?
Funder of what science exactly are you talking about?
Astronomy, physics. I mean, what the fuck are you talking about?
When I tell you historically that the Catholic Church has suppressed science more than any organization in human history, I mean that, and there's history to support it.
Yeah, okay, so you can say that things are suppressed, and that could be true, but it doesn't negate the fact that they have funded more scientific work than almost any other organization has up until modern day.
That doesn't exclude what I'm saying, though, because every little piece of science that goes against the church has been pushed back by the church, and even then, when it hasn't been, it's only gone to show the church is wrong about very fundamental things. When we talk about things historically in the Bible, which you are told to take dogmatically, such as the Great Flood, that is completely fabricated and has no material basis whatsoever,
in your opinion,
it doesn't make sense.
In your opinion?
It's not in my opinion. It is very clear in the Bible that things took place, that the world was created 5,000 years ago.
The Bible doesn't say that.
What? Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Very clearly
no, it doesn't.
That.
Where does it say it?
In all contexts of the history within
the Bible never makes a claim. The Bible never makes a claim on how old the earth is.
How about when it said that Moses lived to be over 2,000 years old?
I don't know that it said he lived over to 2,000 years old.
It does. It does.
Let's look it up, because I don't think anybody, maybe Adam.
Even then, the whole story of Adam and Eve, also negated by historical material reality.
So Moses, 120 years.
Where are you? Okay, that is not what I've heard from several other sources.
But, so you haven't actually read the Bible. Cool.
No, I have actually read not all of the Bible. I will.
So the same way that you treated me with Darwin, then why are you talking about it?
Because there are specific instances in the Bible that are historically inaccurate.
So you think?
No, and it's also not even able to be contradicted that the Bible that the church has selected specific books of the Bible for not being contradictory to other books, while they've then
you can't even begin to understand why you can't even begin to understand that if you have a material perspective.
What is that supposed to mean?
Marxist, I have a question for you. What do you think about the Russians fleeing?
The Russians fleeing?
Dude, we're having a conversation. What are you doing? So,
what do you mean the Russians fleeing?
They're fleeing Russia. Allegedly, they're fleeing Russia.
Oh, you mean the emigration for like yeah. I think that they should be able to go where they want. Yeah, no, I don't think there should be a draft for the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I'm not really supportive of any of what's happening in Ukraine.
Give us a like, y'all. Smash the screen. I don't know, man. There's, you guys just been on this philosophical rant for quite some time now. I just thought you're right. Switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. You're right. Yeah, no, I think it's the Marxist position to have that neither Ukraine nor Russia should be supported in what they're doing, because Ukraine is being essentially used as a pawn by NATO to provoke Russia into war, and it's kind of working. Russia has taken very drastic actions in the sense that the United States kind of wanted this. They were hoping for this. They predicted that Russia was going to invade Ukraine for months and months and months, and then the deadline kept getting pushed back as to when it was going to happen, because this is what they were hoping for, because it plays into strategic interests of the United States and Eastern Europe.
Yeah, so do you think that Russia is going to win the war, or do you think the Ukraine and the West is going to win the war?
I think unless it escalates into a full-scale proxy war, there's absolutely no way that Ukraine will win the war. It's just, logistically, it's impossible. Up until this point, Russia has only been in the stage of a special military operation, and they've already had far more successes than is being reported in a lot of Western media. But obviously there's been defeats there too. They've been pushed back out of certain territory. That's what's kind of led to them escalating the conflict even more recently. But I think long term, it's pretty much impossible for Ukraine to just pull an underdog and win the whole thing.
Yeah, I think Russia's going to be sending in more troops than Ukraine has people in the country here soon.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's hard to win that, because they're not exactly taking like a guerrilla approach to the conflict.
Doesn't matter how much money
very
the US
Western
throws at
strategy.
Ukraine.
What was that?
Doesn't matter how much money the U.S. throws at Ukraine. If they don't have enough manpower, they're pretty much doomed.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that 100%. And I think the more that they obliterate the economy and the willpower of the people in Ukraine, as has been happening now throughout this entire conflict, it's just going to be less and less successful at defending itself.
Yeah. What do you think, Louise?
It's been in a proxy war for a long time. Ever since the beginning, it's been a proxy war. Fucking Ukraine should just give up. Russia's going to win.
They should.
European countries should end the sanctions on Russia. Just accept defeat.
It's too bad that the West, controls Ukraine. Though they're not letting them just give up.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's been a proxy war since the beginning, and this is why the European nations and the West just need to allow Russia to take over whatever's going to take over of Ukraine and call it a day, because now the European countries are starting to face the repercussions of their sanctions imposed on Russia. It's not hurting Russia, but it's going to be hurting Europe, all of Europe pretty soon, because they're so dependent on Russian gas.
It already has in places like Germany and the UK.
Exactly.
I mean, they've seen a lot of negative effects in their economy, specifically with gas source, that has hurt them far more than it's hurt Russia. I mean, the sanctions completely failing to cripple the Russian economy, and actually we've seen increases in the Russian economy.
Exactly.
Should just go to show how much of a failure the NATO operation in Ukraine really is.
100%.
Hey, look at that. All of a sudden we have more. We have things in common. We agree on something.
Yeah, this is very true.
Yeah,
very
look,
true.
I could debate materialism and idealism and dualism all day long, but like this you're right. It is something that you can actually come to a consensus on outside of just like, puffing your chest out and talking back and forth.
The things that you two were debating are like very core, fundamental, hardcore beliefs within one's soul that aren't, there's not much budging on that, So
sure, yeah, and I think in like my goal obviously is to educate people to push toward a socialist transition in our society, because I think capitalism is a failure and is going to continue to fail. So when I think of things that we need to be discussing and finding unity on, it's not a matter of do I believe in God? Should somebody else believe in God? It's a matter of how can we improve the actual conditions in our country and the conditions in other countries. I think that we can agree on a lot of that.
Yeah, and I think that the only way that you improve the countries is at the most fundamental core, which is the spirit in your belief system. Your belief system, your morality, and the way you use your will determine how your country is doing, how it turns out.
Sure. I mean, I can agree with you there. I think there's a different source for what that will is grown out of, but I agree with you that it's the ideas of the people in the country and the people themselves that are going to push for actual change.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I'm glad Mick had a method to his madness. It threw me off. I get riled up So yeah, it was good. It was good. But hey, we got a couple other people that want to join. So I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, I'll
good
convo.
convo.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. And good job, Mick. That was good. That was very clever. What's going on?
I'm trying to be clever. I'm just trying to be honest. Like, we're honest media, bro. Like,
Right on.
hey, I'm gonna have to fucking go dark for a second again.
It's all good.
I gotta go charge my phone. I'm gonna have to figure out this Wi-Fi shit because this ain't gonna work just sitting in my car.
What's going on, Blue Trash 1234?
What's up, Blue Trash?
Oh, off topic. You guys went off topic.
Going dark.
It's all good. It's all good. You can bring it back around if you like.
Oh, I don't quite remember right now. Let's keep talking until I remember. I think it was about the religion. How you guys were debating about the religion science.
Yes.
Well, we got these topics up here. Like you just read shit. You want to talk about it, like.
Yeah, but so we can go a little off script today. So you were saying religion and the science. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when you guys were arguing about Darwin and stuff. Like 5-10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what I was going to chime in about.
Don't forget, bro.
I am very.
Well, if you don't want to talk about that, you can talk about something else. I mean, what's on your mind? Have you had a good weekend so far?
Actually,
where are you tuning in from? We're from Ohio. Where are you from?
Edmonton.
Oh, is that in Canada?
How don't you know that?
Edmonton, Canada?
Yeah. How don't you automatically know that?
Well, I'm pretty good at geography.
Oh, okay. How good?
Yeah, I like maps a lot. I'm kind of big into maps.
Really?
I'm weird like that.
They're big into maps.
I guess I'm a crazy guy.
Yeah, man. Show me your stuff here. You got a map nearby? You can explain something to me or what?
No, I'm in my car right now.
I love to harass people. Sorry, I get bad jokes and I just harass a little bit.
No, that's cool.
I love satire.
But go ahead and talk to Louise. I'm about to go plug my phone in and I'll be listening, but my Wi-Fi is going to be shitty, so I won't be able to comment much. I apologize.
It's all good. So what's going on, man? Anything that piques your interest on the topics to discuss?
Well, what the silly thing is right now is on my LG phone, first 2 letters or 2 or 3 letters are not visible on your list. For some reason, it's some stupid curved screen, so I can't see the Magna Communism.
Maga.
Oh, okay.
Like Make America Great Again.
Oh yeah, Trump thing.
Yeah.
What's the other one? The like. It says E like North Korea.
Be like North Korea. Yeah.
Oh, be like North Korea. Okay, so it's not cutting off too many letters there. Okay.
Nope.
Not going to do more. A rise of
Christian nationalism. Yep.
All right, explain that one to me.
The rise of Christian nationalism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
What's the definition right now going on with that?
So it's essentially making a Christian nation. So you would have to bring back church and state.
Okay.
And there's a rise.
Do you think that's a good thing?
I do. I'm all for church and state being unified.
Really? Because there's this thing going on in Iran right now.
Yeah.
Is it Iran?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's when church and the state are one.
What about exactly are you referring to?
Well, the violence going on right now about the movement of them taking off their hijabs.
Yeah, well, that's a. It'll come to be revealed, but it's very Well, no, it's
That's
it's
you
very.
just defended state and religion.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what happens when state and religion goes together.
Well, no, I mean that's a horrible argument. But anyway, well, yeah, it's a horrible argument. I could also say, well, church and state, when it goes together, if you look at what happened in Constantinople, you get the rise of the Roman Empire, and then you get then eventually you get universities in the Middle Ages created by the Catholic Church. That's what you get out of church and state. It's so much more than that. But anyway, that particular topic, well, it will become it'll be revealed. I don't know, maybe a year or two that it.
Do you feel that any of that is right?
Well, what I'm saying is, if I could finish.
Over there. But I mean,
Well, if I could finish, if I could actually finish what I'm going to say, it will be revealed in the near future that what is taking place over there is not organic, and it is an attempt to subvert the Iranian state by Western powers, by Western influencers, whether it be the CIA, whether it be Mossad or other secret organizations, but I do not believe that it's organic.
So you think there's like a big setup going on, like?
I believe it's not necessarily a big setup, but the catalyst for it was not organic. There were in my opinion, provocateurs, which then led to others to fall into this protest. And that became known as the organic movement. So there are people who genuinely believe what they're doing in there and are participating. But it was ultimately started with the intention to subvert the state.
What? Yes. Maybe.
That's my theory. So I have nothing against Iran. I think that Iran should be able.
People are asking for the right to do what they want.
I don't think that they are. I think that they're being led by forces that they don't understand. Because I think that it's an attack on the country. I think it's a war. I think it's an act of war by Western nations on Iran, and it will come to be revealed in the future.
Like seeding, like just putting the ideas.
Yes.
That's kind of seeding.
Essentially. That's what I think.
I heard the same thing actually about TikTok too, how the algorithm's different
for different countries. Yes. Yeah. So that's what I think with Iran. So I have no issue with Iran. I have
very plausible.
Yeah.
I can't deny. I can't say no, it's not happening. But
and I can't prove it. I have nothing to prove it.
Exactly. You can't prove it. I can't deny it because it's possible. But I would hope. God, I gotta have some hope that people aren't actually like this.
Well, I don't have any issue with Iran doing what they want to do. If the Iranian country,
if the women don't want to wear the hijab, whatever, then stop wearing it. I don't understand why the argument right now.
Well, then maybe you should not.
It's not my culture. I don't understand that culture completely.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, then I would say maybe then maybe then you shouldn't live in that country if that's the way you feel. So like.
Well, it's not so easy to move though. When you're born there, right?
Or you just accept it, like there's no need to be a revolutionary spirit.
Right, let's move on. Like, it's like I wasn't all for the mask thing during the COVID stuff. But you know what? It was just a code. It was just like a dress code thing. You're gonna enter the store. Dress code says put on a mask. Okay, put on a mask. It's like wearing pants, right?
No, not at all. I never wore one. I never caved.
No. Yeah, I just looked at it like that. Like whatever. You gotta wear pants and a shirt to go into eat a hamburger somewhere. Okay, well, they just added the mask. Okay.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I wasn't for that either. No, I think that, if the Iranian people want to live that way, then they have the right to live that way. And I don't believe that there's an organic movement going on. And I don't think that church and state is bad. I think that church and state is inevitable. And the only way to have a long-lasting functional society is to have the church and state working together.
Wow, I'm not very religious. I'm like almost against religion. I'm not completely against it, but I don't see how the two can be even.
You can't separate the two. You can't separate the two.
think I don't know how you can put them together. That would just be ridiculous.
It isn't. So the state.
No, it is. No, you can't just say isn't dismissive like that.
Well, I was literally going to explain why it isn't. I wasn't just dismissing it.
It's outrageous to even consider the fact that you should put the two together.
No, not at all. So I will explain.
No, you can't just dismiss it like that. No,
I'm not, dude. I'm literally answering. I'm literally going to explain.
Okay.
So, the government and the church is, in a way, a government for the soul. And what I mean by that is it provides the framework for the soul to attain an understanding of God and repent. That way one can be saved. If you would just shut up, I'm sorry, if you would just shut up and listen, dude, seriously. I'm trying to explain it. Seriously, stop interrupting me. I'm literally going into it. All right? So,
you don't need to tell me off. Relax.
Well, then stop interrupting me.
Well, okay, we'll stop talking nonsense.
I'm not.
Speak some sense.
So, the church provides a framework for the soul to attain an understanding of God, which will then provide a pathway to heaven, ideally. The government provides a framework for the body of people to come together and form a society that is functional. The soul and the body are one. Therefore, to properly govern the body, the state must work with the church to understand the morality, to understand how to govern the soul. So you bring the two together so that way laws and the societal norm, the culture, the regulations are in line with the moral code for humans. So the church and state go together very well. As a matter of fact, this is all humans have ever known up until the modern day.
I don't even know how to respond to that. It was just a bunch of nonsense.
Okay.
You're talking about soul and this and stuff. Like, you're absolute nonsense what you just said. Complete.
Okay.
Are you that lost from reality?
How so?
How so? You just babbled on about like morality and all this stuff. Like, you don't understand how the universe is and stuff.
How does the universe work? Explain it to me.
You just think there's a magic sky daddy?
I don't explain them that way, no.
Okay, well, I mean, how else? Like, do you believe in magic? Because that's what, if you believe in religion and Christianity and all that stuff, you actually literally believe in magic, that there was an entity up there who said, poof, let existence happen.
Yeah.
That is literally magic.
Yeah, I think that magic's real.
Yeah, so he's just like Harry Potter. He's like, alakazam.
No.
Well, yeah, it's magic. It's the same thing. Harry Potter and God are the same thing. It's just
how would you explain the creation
I
of
have no idea. I have no idea. There's a
existence?
couple possibilities, but the smallest possibility in existence is the fact that an entity said so. That is complete, absolute, ridiculous nonsense.
I mean, I think magic might be a.
Yeah, no, it's
magic.
Hang on. Let's back up a little bit. Let's back up a little bit. What did I say?
What is it?
Refute my argument for church and state.
Oh, for church and state, obviously not, because the state has to represent all the peoples.
Okay.
Okay, and all the peoples do not agree on your ideals.
Who is all the people?
That's why there's different states. That's why there's different states, Blue Trash.
Well, no, all the states. Are you talking all the states in America?
Well, I'm talking about in the world, bro. There's different regions, sections, countries, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Everybody's different, bro.
So that's why they stopped teaching religion in school. It's the same ideal, like, because one is mythology, which is religion,
not in all the schools. Not in all the schools.
No, not all
What do you mean
schools. Didn't they ban the Bible in Texas? Come on.
Oh yeah, but they didn't ban religion in all schools. There are religious schools.
No, they don't ban it. You can go to a Christian school or whatever school you like. Yes,
Yeah.
if you. Yeah. But why do you think they? In the normal schools, they stop
In
teaching
the
both at
normal,
once.
they're the normal ones.
Yeah, not the ones you have to pay extra for. Like,
Well, maybe you shouldn't have to pay extra.
So what? So you haven't really made an argument.
oh well, but how can you do that? There's logic versus morality. I think
They don't contradict each other.
Sorry.
Logic and morality can go together. I mean, I think they do.
You have to be logic. You don't need a moral directory to be moral. You just have to be logical.
No, not at all.
How so?
So if you are in favor of it depends on what your goal is. So if you're in favor of a strong, productive society, it would be logical to not save the infant and save the grown man. So how would logic and morality go together? When morality, you would say, I would save the infant.
In the same sense.
I'm sorry?
If you're logical, you don't need morality because you're logical.
You do need morality.
Well,
You can never do without
let me say
morality.
something. A grown man will save. A grown man will save an infant, over himself.
But I'm saying in
he's
this,
a grown man,
but in this,
he may be older.
not necessarily. This has to depend on your morality.
Yes, there are some conclusions, yes.
Well, no. I mean, if you're going purely off of logic, it would make more sense to save that productive human man as opposed to the infant who you don't know how it's being raised. I said infant. I said infant. I'm specifying. I'm literally specifying in this scenario. There's an infant, very, very young child. And then you have a grown adult who's a productive member in the society, who is strong, who is smart, who can do things that make the community better. So it would logically be better to save the person who's already productive in society as opposed to the infant, because you don't know how the infant's being raised. You don't know where the infant came from. You don't know how the infant will turn out. You don't know its genetic disposition. You don't know anything about the infant.
Yeah, so how about that MAGA communism? Here I go. I'm just switching it up again. Randomly.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I don't agree with the man, but
hey, are you having a good weekend, Blue Trash? I mean, how you doing, bro? Where are you from?
I told you already.
No, it may have been when I first started. Where are you from?
Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh yeah, that's right. And you were like, how the fuck do you know where that's at? Yeah, Canada. How's Canada doing over there with the?
I was saying, how don't you know where that is? But anyways.
With the housing market and all that, and there's a lot of things going over there. The economy over there in Canada seems to be kind of rough. I mean, how are you doing? How are things going over there in Canada? Give us an update on what's going on up north.
I don't know, man. I'm a pretty antisocial person. I just go to work, take care of my kids. But inflation has been notable in the last few months. I've noticed an increase in quite a lot of things as I shop.
So it seems like you try to just not worry about that shit. You're just worried about your family. You're focusing on your family. That seems. You seem like a pretty straightforward man. You're trying to take care of your family, right? What do you have? I have 2 children. If I may ask.
I have 2. Somebody's texting me, sorry. No, just fucking shoot the shit, man. Work every day. Take care of the kids. What else are you gonna do, right?
Nice.
Right? Yeah. I mean, children are the future.
No matter what you believe in, that's what you're made for.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Get out
100%.
there, people.
Yeah, have big families. Make big families cool again.
Definitely, because they're trying to like slim down the population right now, so we got to fight back. Have
Facts.
some baby people.
I think the most important thing.
I don't know if you're trying to say something, Mick, but you're like cutting in and out.
The number one thing, though, like men have to take care of their families. We can't just be like impregnating women and running off all willy
Yeah,
nilly.
it ain't the good old days anymore. I got some dark humor, buddy.
Men need to be men and take care of their family.
Yeah. Yeah, we agree. I don't know if you keep cutting out or not, Mick, but like you're talking, it sounds like you're not done talking, and then you're done talking. I don't know.
Maybe it's just a long pause to make sure he's heard.
I don't know. Can you hear us, Mick?
Some shit cuts out on the internet a lot, right?
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
the queen died.
She did, but is anybody really surprised she was 96? She lived a full life.
Damn, did she ever?
Yeah. So, and now you got King Charles in there.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that. I don't know much about that.
Oh yeah, he's your king. You're in Canada. He's your king.
Apparently, yeah. Honestly, I
I'm not
think
sure.
probably about a year ago, I had this argument with my mother. I was like, "What? We don't
My
have a
internet.
queen of Canada."
I apologize for that.
It's all good.
I was arguing with my mother. I was like, "No, we don't have a queen of Canada. What are you talking about?" I had to look it up. I was like, "Apparently, we do have a queen of Canada."
Yep. Yeah.
No, we have a king
You have a
of
queen of Canada.
Yeah, Queen Elizabeth was the Queen of Canada.
You didn't know
now it's
that,
King
Mick?
Charles. I learned this like less than a year ago.
I mean, are we about to have a?
You're breaking up again. We lost you.
Sorry, can't. Yeah, don't know. I can't hear you, but
So
it almost sounds like we can hear him moving around.
yeah, I
We can't
know.
hear his voice.
But now it looks like he's muted, so I don't know what's going on. Let's see here.
Oh, he's
Question
yelling
was-
at us.
Was Queen Elizabeth II chosen by God to be queen? I mean, yeah, but I think that we're all chosen for a role.
The royal family's a human construct.
I think people are chosen for a role. Doesn't mean that they'll fulfill that role. Doesn't even mean that they'll come even close to doing what they were designed to do. But I do believe that we have innate gifts that we are to use, in my opinion, to glorify God and bring people closer to God.
It's just all God with you, man. Okay.
Yeah, He's our creator. He shows us mercy every day.
Okay, that amazes me because I learned about it a lot when I was younger. My mom made me get confirmed. She took me to Sunday school and stuff. And I realized very young that, like, to me, it seemed like it's a scam,
It can be.
right? Like, to me, when I went to confirmation classes. Yeah, and we read the Bible together. And to me, it just kept just seeming like a scam, like they're trying to pull one over on you. You know?
Could be. Depends on where you went. Not everybody in the faith is in there for the right reasons. Some people like the power.
Yeah.
Some people like the money. There are humans in the church. Yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, it can be scams for sure. Doesn't mean that the faith is a scam. Just like, it's like saying that, well, I had one bad business deal with this one guy who owned a car shop. He wouldn't give
no,
me
but
the
it's
time.
continuous.
Well, yeah, I mean, and yeah, you can. Well, it's not continuous. No. Well, I mean, it is continuous in the sense that there are people pulling off scams every day from Christianity or any other religion, the same way people are pulling scams from businesses. But that doesn't make businesses illegitimate. There are legitimate businesses. There are right ways to
And
run
religion is
a.
very big business.
I'm sorry.
And religion is a very big business.
It can be, yes.
What are those super churches down there that got that in the States?
There are
Yeah,
mega
that is
churches.
a run for money.
There are mega churches here, yeah, and I don't believe
Mega
that.
churches, sorry.
I don't believe that they
That's
are.
a stab at your money.
Yeah, and I don't believe that they are. They're holy
God
in any
doesn't need
sense.
money.
I'm sorry.
God doesn't need money.
Yeah, you're not giving money to God. The money given to churches is not for God.
So keep the money for yourself. What are you doing?
Well, yeah, I mean, churches, as they're designed, as the Orthodox and the Catholic Church typically do, they have hospitals, they have charities. Ideally, they would give to the poor, they would help the needy, they would help take in orphans, they would provide for their parishes.
The
That
Vatican has enough money to solve world hunger.
yeah, but once again,
So fuck right off with they're helping people. They're
It's-
helping a very
it's not a
minimal amount of
theory.
people.
No, so once again, there
No,
are
not a theory. I said, no, just,
there are people
they don't help
in the
very many
church.
people.
There are people in the church who manipulate their power, who abuse their power. Yeah, nobody's denying that. But the ideal way the church would be functioning would be through. I mean, you had Saint John Chrysostom, right? He would preach on this particular subject, giving back to the poor. Actually, when he was bishop of, I think he was bishop of Constantinople, he said that he stopped actually the dinners that they would have over there, the fancy dinners, and he would give back to the poor there. So the way that it should run would be to feed the poor, would be to care for the sick. Will it happen perfectly? No, because human has a fallen nature. So we will be greedy. We will be selfish.
That's
People
an
will.
excuse.
It's not. It's not. It's a
That's an
fact.
excuse.
It's a fact.
No, if you're logical, you don't think that way.
Yeah, you do actually, because if you're logical, you'd be like, well,
Logical would be help everybody because we have enough resources for everyone and we have enough money for everyone. That's logical. Let's all get together.
yeah, but it's also logical to say
is
that
logic.
it's also logical to say that I can enrich myself in a secretive way.
Well, no, because when you're logical, enriching yourself doesn't mean a goddamn thing.
Yeah, it does actually.
No, it doesn't, because when you're logical, it doesn't. You just need what you need. You eat every day. You have clothes to wear. You go about your business. You don't need this lavish lifestyle.
No, if you're logical and you're also a part of the world.
Break it in. I'm going to be rich.
No, if you're logical and you're a part of the world, you will find ways to gather more resources. It's logical to want to gather more resources. It makes you more powerful.
You realize that the resources are plentiful.
Yeah, but how do you acquire them? So, like, this is where the money is coming into play, especially in the society we live today.
Yes, but yes, if you're logical again, you don't need money.
Yes, you
If
do.
everybody would be like logical, you wouldn't need money and stuff. You just fucking go about your business. Everybody help each other, and you like.
Well, it's not logical to
Did you
just.
guys even hear me?
Yes, we couldn't before.
Yeah, we hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, for some reason it's not letting me go to camera. I don't understand why, but it's not letting me go to camera. But
Maybe your bandwidth.
here I am. I'm the MOT symbol. I don't know,
Maybe
dude. I
bandwidth.
got closer to my Wi-Fi. I'm not really sure.
Oh, there might be some
Maybe
strain
I'll have
because
to call
the hurricane
plan
that was
or
happening on the East Coast there causes some strain on the other system, right?
Yeah, maybe it's like a solar flare or some shit, you know. But hey, this is the MOT symbol. This is good. This is good. This is good.
Good.
We lost you again. So, but yeah, I mean, we can agree that the church is corrupt. We can agree that the church has done bad things. But at the same time, we should be able to agree that the church has done beautiful things. It's done really good things as
Very
well.
little in comparison what they could do.
What do you mean? They've
What do you
done
mean by
tremendous
this? That
things.
The Vatican can
The-
cure world hunger.
No,
And
how could it cure
the
world hunger?
Vatican also has enough money to pay off everybody's debt.
Not true.
Pretty close. I looked up. It was pretty close.
Not true.
They have
I mean,
enough
there's
money
like
to pay off
hundreds of
everybody's debt.
trillions of dollars in
So
debt.
then we can just do a great reset, like not a great reset like the conspiracy today. No. Like that money reset that they used to back in Rome, where like every 8 years they would reset the money system, and all your debts would be forgiven.
Yeah, that's a Christian thing. That's a Christian thing that was
Yeah.
implemented.
So like we need to do that again,
I agree.
but the Vatican doesn't want to do that.
It's not up to the Vatican.
They have enough money to do it though. If they were
They're not the
really
ones to
truly
decide. They're not the
If
ones
they
that
were trying to
they're
help
not the
everybody, they would
ones.
help.
They're not the ones to decide economic policy. And also for them to do that, you would have to have a church and state.
You're missing the point though. They would willingly want to do it because it's ethical for their religion to be like, let's help some people.
But
So
you're
they would
missing the
literally
point
help
that they have no
everybody
way
in
of
the
doing
world
it.
all at once.
But they have no way
But
of
they
doing
don't
it.
because they're selfish and they want to sit on their crowns or their thrones of gold.
But they have no way of doing it. They have no.
What do you mean? You just start going, hey, bank, let me start paying off people's houses. Do.
Well, yeah, certainly. I guess they could
Yeah,
do that.
Of course they have ways to do it.
But they couldn't, be a part of the whole financial reset. That's not their thing. They would have to be a
Why
part
not?
of because they would have.
Well, that would be a logical thing to do. Given the world's economy right now and inflation and everything, it would be logical.
Well, then the only way that it would be consistent. The only way that it would be consistent then is if you would have the church working with the state.
Well, yeah. You know what? No, I don't think that would work that way. No.
You would have to. But churches do, like, for instance.
That's a good picture you got frozen there.
For instance, the Catholics, and I'm not a Catholic, the Catholics installed a bunch of wells in Africa. They installed a bunch of water lines. They installed.
Yeah, you know what? Nacon did more than they did in like 5 years. So
that's not true. That's not true at all. Because what had happened is, you're just missing a whole bunch of historical information. So the Jesuits and the Catholics went over to Africa, did missions there, established schools, established plumbing systems, wells, etc., taught them how to maintain it so that way they can be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And they did nothing.
they were self-sufficient before.
Louise, why should we?
The Christians didn't bring
Why do you
anything there.
think we
They just
should be
brought
like the
fucking
North
bullshit that
Koreans?
They're gonna do it. They were self-sufficient before the Christians got there and spread their word.
Okay. So I
They
feel like
lived
I'm just
life
talking to a
together.
wall.
No, that's like seeing the natives. Okay, the natives over here were fine before we got here, right?
No.
They were fine before we
No,
got here.
not at all. I mean, the natives
Yes,
were
they
like,
were. What are you
no,
talking about? They
no.
were just fine before we got here.
no, dude.
Before Christianity. I say not we, but Christianity.
No, man.
We need to be
Christianity.
like the North Koreans.
Well, really quick. Christian. This is the thing that people just don't understand
It
historically.
didn't help anybody. If
It
that's
did. What the hell are you talking about? You have no clue what you're talking about.
No, it didn't help anybody. It's kind of like
It did.
hindered the world.
You have no clue what you're talking about at all.
Oh,
They
I know.
would literally. Do you know some of the practices these tribes and some of the people in South America would do?
What
like-
does that matter to you? How are you to judge them?
Well, first off, if people are having their head would be ripped open and they would be being tortured on their
Who's the
body
judge?
for religious purposes.
Are you judging people right now?
Yeah,
think
I
you are.
can. And it's okay to judge
Oh,
people.
So who gives you the power to judge people?
So here's the thing. If you are to
Because you read a
judge,
book, you get to judge the other peoples of the world.
so if you will let me speak, you are really annoying to talk to. If you would let me ever fucking answer when you
No,
talk.
because I'm making some points.
No,
You can't
you're
do
not.
that.
You're kind of retarded. So just listen. All right.
Oh,
literally,
insulting.
dude, you're the one insulting. You're the one insulting my religion. You're the one insulting my God. I've been very respectful to you most of this conversation. All right, and I'm trying to answer your rebuttals. All right, so to judge, there's nothing contradicting for a Christian to judge. It literally says, if you're going to judge, just understand that you are going to be judged too. So for me to judge other people based on their religion that said that they can throw babies alive into a water grave. They would literally throw young boys, male boys into a water grave as a sacrifice. They would literally cut heads open, start eating the brains of the person that they were sacrificing as they were torturing them.
Different from what the Christian church did.
Yes, the Christian church got rid of fucking human sacrificing, dude. The Christian church purged the world of it. Yes, and it did happen in Europe, and the Christian church got rid of that.
Got rid of it, but they were still guilty of it.
No, they weren't guilty of it. The Christians didn't do that. It was never practiced in Christianity.
You need to read some history, bro.
I have a lot more than you. Christians used to sacrifice cattle. Christians used to sacrifice lambs. Christians would do, well, technically they were Jews. They would do animal sacrifices.
And human.
They would not do human sacrifices. This is totally antithetical to Christian.
Christianity came from? Came from religions before it.
No, it didn't. It came from God.
Yeah, it did.
No.
Everything in your Christianity book
No.
came from other religions.
It came from God.
Absolutely everything did.
No, it didn't. It came from God.
No, it came from other religions before.
No, it didn't. It
Worship
came from
other
God.
gods.
No, it didn't. It came from
Yeah,
God.
No, that's exactly where it all came from. So why did religions copy other religions? Why is your Messiah, your solar Messiah, your sun worshiper Messiah thingy, the same as other Messiahs in the past?
He's not. He's unique.
He's absolutely no, he's not.
He
of
is.
course,
He is the one true
they
Son
have
of
the same
God.
word sequence, they have the same everything.
Not true. He is the one
I
true
mean-
Son of God.
I mean, the sun in the middle of the zodiac sign traveled around with 12 brothers.
Yeah, so there are fractal truths that extend
Yeah.
outside of that. Yes.
Fractal truth. No. This is your religion is based on religions beforehand.
No, it's not.
That's documented in history.
It's
You're
not
just
actually.
saying no,
It's
we don't
not.
have it.
No, because
You're just saying no.
Christianity is a divine revelation. It is a
But
revealed
that's not
truth.
That's not proof. You can just say yes. That's it. But we have historical proof. You want to look it up together? I have a computer right in front of you.
Yeah, dude. So for just to give you a little background on me, I've went down this whole journey of wow. I used to be of the belief that
But yes,
Christianity,
so they put the
dude,
shit in front of you.
please,
You're
I
the
let
truth.
you fucking speak. Jesus, stop it. Stop interrupting me, please. It is very annoying to
Make one
speak to you.
point, please.
No, I'm gonna fucking talk as long as I want. This is my live. You don't tell me what to do.
Well, I'm saying make
So
a point.
anyway, I used to go through this phase. I went through this phase myself where I thought that all religions were built upon each other, as if there was this literal
I found the
linear.
truth.
linear-
Now you deny it.
Shut the fuck up. Let me speak. There was this linear progression of religion. Literally, that's what I used to believe, that there was this linear progression in religion. But now what I realize is that what is more sensible, like sensical in my opinion, is that there's a hierarchy to religions and spiritual beliefs. Meaning, are there truths in other religions? Are there overlaps in other religions and spiritual beliefs? Of course. Are there religions that will get you closer to an understanding of God? Of course. And so, based on my experience, based on my knowledge, and just using my logic, I see that Christianity is at the top of the hill. Judaism isn't far away. Islam isn't far away. Hinduism isn't necessarily far away. Buddhism isn't necessarily far away. And I'm not saying that these other religions can't attain heaven, but they are not built upon each other. Do they share truths? Yeah, they do share truths. Of course. Does that mean that they are...
They share an ancestral past.
No. So there are overlaps within cultures of religions.
No, they were written from books before them.
No, because
Yes.
the religions...
You can't just say no, I'll just say yes.
Yeah, that's fine, because we can't really figure out exactly where the religions were started from.
We know humanity is much older than we think right now.
Yes.
And obviously there was lost information in the past.
Yes. And so my point is...
That were written today are usually formatted on books that were written in the past.
So that's an inference that you're making. You're inferring. So in logic, you keep throwing logic around, by the way. What you're doing is you're inferring, right? You're inferring. This isn't deductive. This is not deductive reasoning. This is inferencing, which can work. You could be right.
It's not an inference. It's logical deduction, like you said.
It's not logical deduction, dude. It's literally inference.
All the signs of everything that was in the Bible is before in other religions.
No, that is your opinion.
Every story, every single story.
That is your opinion.
You can look,
so once again, I think literally, I think the issue here is that you are so anti-Christian that you're not even hearing me out, because I've literally stated that there are truths shared between religions. There are truths shared.
English.
How the fuck is that not English, dude?
What do you mean that's a true shared religions? What? That's like mythical nonsense.
Then why are you even talking religion?
Sentences.
Why are you even talking about religion?
I'm asking questions. This is what it does.
No, you're like being an authoritative. This is why it's getting annoying, because like you're being an authoritative figure, and then I'm speaking in these terms which somebody who is speaking upon religion should be able to relate with, because you obviously have religious knowledge.
It's like somebody wandering out with a bell and a book and speaking hymns. Normal people don't understand that.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't. They're all like, what's he saying?
Yeah, the spirit understands that. Do you need guidance to understand it? Of course.
Okay, see, that's what I mean. Guidance to understand it? What was...
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Let's not go down.
You need guidance to understand math. You need a teacher to understand math.
Oh, yes, but math is like the reveal of truth.
It's not the reveal of truth.
It is. It shows you exactly what things are.
No, it doesn't.
1 plus 1 is 2. You can't dispute that. It will never.
It doesn't tell you exactly what things are. How the fuck is math going to explain this? This chair, this red chair I'm holding.
Okay.
Speak to me in equations. Speak to me in
a very giant equation, and it's beyond my math capability, I will say.
All right, bro. It's been not really pleasurable talking to you. Bye.
Well,
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. How you doing?
Doing well. Yourself?
I'm hanging in there.
Good.
Yo, what up? I had a question. When you say the church and state should be together, which church?
Yeah, it's very simple. The Orthodox Christian Church.
Why?
Because it's the one true Christian church.
How do you know that?
Because of apostolic succession, and it's the church that Jesus established.
But there is older religions that Christianity has copied.
It's not copied. No.
It is. They use the same stories.
No. So once again,
there's older religions.
Did you not hear anything? Did you not hear anything I said in the previous one?
Is that not true? That's history of religion.
No, it's not true. So what I'm saying, and what I said last time, is that are there truths shared, overlapping in other religions? Of course.
They're not shared. The first one that comes up first is the first one, the second one after, is a copycat. It's not a.
No, not necessarily,
They're
dude.
taking the idea and using it.
Not necessarily.
That is exactly.
No, it's not. So let me ask you this. Do you think that two people out of, two people living in two different worlds can have for example, the same idea at the same time and not know each other and not be inspired by each other?
Yes, but if someone has the idea first and then someone else comes up
No, you're not. You're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening.
That's all it is.
You're not listening.
No, you're trying to blend them together.
I'm not blending them together. Exactly. You're not listening or you don't understand. Because I'm not blending them together.
It was 400 years before the other person was alive.
Oh my God, dude.
They're not alive at the same time.
Do you know that there's evidence? Friedrich Nietzsche, he was a philosopher, right? There's evidence of Friedrich Nietzsche literally fucking writing, I believe it was Friedrich Nietzsche, like almost word for word, a book in which he never read. All right? Literally, dude. There's plenty of examples throughout history of people having these same ideas, these same concepts, the same experiences without stealing from the other person, provably.
Yes, these stories came up through the same part of the world that the Bible came from, but they were 400 years earlier than they were.
Oh my God.
That had the same
Are you not listening to what I'm saying? Are you just so hell-bent on your point that it has to be a linear progression? They can't just stumble. You don't understand history. I was a history major, bro. Bro, I literally studied history in college. I know what the fuck I'm talking about, all right? I literally am explaining to you that there are people in the world. Not all history is linear either. It's like it ebbs and flows, dude. All right. So, with what we're talking about, there are people who literally see the same things, experience the same truths, experience visions, experience things in the world at different times, but never. How in the fuck is somebody all the way in, like, let's say 4 countries down going to get a text that's 4 countries away from them?
It was oral traditions. It wasn't written down.
How do they get there? How do they get there? Dude, these are things that happen. Like, people have experiences. I'm sure you have ideas where you think, wow, I don't know if anybody else has thought about that. And then you look it up, everybody's thought about that. Damn. But I never read anything about it. Or, wow, look at this truth that I discovered. Has any other person discovered this truth? And you discover other people have discovered that truth, but you didn't get that truth from them.
So by your same admission, I could say that the Muslims are exactly the same as Christianity.
That's not at all what I'm saying. You're not understanding it.
It's just a different idea.
No, that's not at all what I'm saying. That's not even in the slightest what I'm saying.
They wrote a book that had their own ideas, and so they must be true.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That is exactly what you're saying.
That is not what I'm saying at all. Like, not at all. Not even in the slightest.
You can't tell me that Judaism didn't produce Christianity, Muslims, and the Catholics. You can't tell me they didn't come from that central topic of religion.
I'm not arguing that.
And that religion came from 400 years before that religion was even around.
No.
There were stories already about that before that was even established. Is that not true?
I don't think you're listening to me, and I don't think you understand what I'm saying, but that's okay.
No, you just don't want to understand what I'm saying because I'm telling you back what you're telling me, but now you're saying, but I don't know what you're saying. You said that 2 stories could be completely different or completely the same.
No, that's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that people can have ideas. People can experience revelatorial truths that are identical to other religions without knowing the other religion, without copying from the other religion. People can experience.
So then how are Muslims wrong then?
Well, that's a theological discussion to go into.
Well, what you're saying is your church is the one true church. How do you know that if the Muslims don't have it right? Why don't they have it right?
So they have some things right.
But there's only one God, right? In your manner?
Yes, and they believe in one God. And they believe in one God. Yeah, so I would say, so first off, I've already listed made my point in the last conversation that I believe that religions are hierarchical. I believe that all religions contain some truths. And I believe that all religions can get you some understanding of the divine. I don't think that all religions are equipped to get one to salvation.
Yeah, that's because you're raised in a certain religion that you believe yours is right.
No.
Born in Iran, you'd have a different opinion about it. You'd think the Muslims are correct.
Not necessarily, but more than likely.
Necessarily.
No, not necessarily, but more than likely. And that wouldn't mean that it's right.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why yours isn't right either.
It is.
Why? Because you're raised here and raised
No.
in Christian values?
No, it's not, because Christianity makes the most logical sense.
To you, because you're raised.
No, not just to me, but to the world.
No, it doesn't.
How it explains evil.
Mormons don't agree with you. Mormons don't agree with you.
Mormons are Christians, dum-dum.
No, they're not.
They are, literally.
Mormon is a made-up cult from a con artist.
Oh, my God.
From America.
All right, peace,
Yeah,
dude.
exactly, from 1800. He was in the 1800s.
I kicked out the wrong person. All right. We're going to be done talking about that stuff for now. We've been going on for like 2.5 hours.
America.
What's going on?
What's up, bro? Been a pretty interesting live stream.
Dude, the Marxists for the people. Dude, what are you talking about, bro? You've been here for almost 2.5 hours. I'm not just kicking out people that push back. You seem to be a fairly intelligent dude. I'm sure you can understand, if you put away your emotions, that it gets annoying when people are not understanding or just like deliberately mischaracterizing your position. It's very annoying.
Yeah, but also it's probably time to say goodnight.
It is, actually. I got to get up early in the morning, so.
Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can pop my face on here for a second. I'm in the dark a little bit, you know. But yeah, guys, make sure you guys tap the screen. Give us a follow. We got 73 people in here. Let's tap the screen, smash the screen, give us a follow. Check us out on all of the channels, right? I mean, we're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, obviously TikTok. We have multiple channels. If you're into sports, we have an MOT Sports channel on TikTok. The Browns are obviously going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, really quick. Why should we be like North Korea? Guys, I did not know this. I found this out today before the live. And it's really interesting. Extremely interesting. North Korea does not have taxes.
Or do they pay their taxes in like anal rape or something? Or
Oh my God, you probably shouldn't say that on here.
Whoopsie.
I mean, there's sales tax, but you don't pay like income tax, and there's no like set tax from the government.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some type of tax. You know, they take their due diligence in some way.
Let's
But yeah,
see.
I did see what you sent me. Yeah, that was interesting.
I thought that was very interesting. So that's what I mean by be like North Korea. Maybe we can form a an authoritarian regime with no taxes.
Or maybe we can just. It doesn't have to be a. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Tune in next time when we're wearing our large white hats.
Yeah, dude.
JK.
Yeah. We'll bring in a dictatorship. We'll establish communism, and we'll take away taxes.
We're gonna be a fascist, communist. Let's mix all the bad. fascist, communist. What's another one? Fascist, communist,
Nazi.
Cult. Oh yeah, fascist, communist, Nazi cult.
Yeah, and I say that we pick Joe Biden as our king, Donald Trump.
And The Rock will be the vice president.
Yeah, Donald Trump as our.
And he will become president once he bashes in his senior in the head with The Rock.
All right.
That was
Okay.
kind of crazy.
Yeah. You're drunk.
I'm all right.
So just because North Korea has no taxes does not mean they do terrible things, especially to people. NYC Jewish man on Twitch. It's a joke, dude. It's a joke. Although I did not realize that North Korea didn't have taxes until today. So, maybe we can learn from them. Maybe we need Kim Jong-un as the leader for America.
Well, maybe that's why we didn't like them in the first place, because they're anti-tax and we're like all about taxes,
I don't know anything about Albania, okay? I don't know anything about North Korea, really, but it's dude, you get why I picked North Korea. Nobody would give a fuck if I said be like Albania. I didn't even know about Albania, though. All right, I didn't know. Now I know. I'll do some research on it. It's very fascinating. I didn't realize that until today. Something I learned. But well, yeah, just letting you know that's something to look into. Will do, for sure. Yeah, move there.
Yeah, man.
I'm not Korean, so I can't move to North Korea and become a citizen there. Also, I like it in America. With all its faults, I like it here.
Hey, can you hear me, Louise?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, I just want to say good night to you guys.
Peace.
You guys have a fantastic weekend, and peace out, y'all.
All right. We're out of here.